So here you go with the article. This is from the New York Post, and there will be links to this below if you want to check it out for yourself. Here we go. Birth control pill shrinks part of the brain that controls sex drive. Research. So here we go. The pill shrinks the part of the brain that controls your sex drive, according to new research. Top scientists found that women taking the contraceptive pill have a significantly smaller hypothalamus, a brain region responsible for regulating hormones. Damage to the hypothalamus can wreak havoc with a woman's sex drive, mood, appetite, heart rate, and sleep cycles. The shocking revelation comes from a study presented at the annual meeting of Radiological Society of North America that examined 50 women, 21 of whom were using the pill. All 50 women underwent a brain scan, and doctors measured the size of the hypothalamus of each participant. Doctors were stunned to discover the difference in brain structures in women taking the pill compared to those who weren't. Dr. Michael Lipton, professor of radiology at Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York, said, "We found a dramatic difference in the size of brain structures between women who were taking oral contraceptives and those who were not. This initial study shows a strong association and should motivate further investigation into the effects of oral contraceptives on brain structure and their potential impact on brain function." Lipton also found a strong correlation between smaller hypothalamic volume and greater anger and depressive symptoms. Despite this, he said that the finding was preliminary. This is the first time structural effects of sex hormones, including oral contraceptive pills, on the human hypothalamus have ever been reported, according to the researchers. It comes after it was revealed that the pill can dictate whom you fall in love with and significantly lower your sex drive. Top psychologist Dr. Sarah Hill revealed that it affects sex attraction, stress, hunger, eating patterns, emotion regulation, friendships, aggression, mood, learning, and so many other things. She said women on the pill are attracted to less masculine men and are less interested in sex. That's because the hormone progesterone, which sends a message to the body that ovulation is not required, is dominant throughout your cycle. She said, rather than experiencing an increased preference for sexy men and high fertility like naturally cycling women do, pill-taking women exhibit unwavering preference for men with less masculine faces and voices. This is a sort preferred by naturally cycling women during the second half of their cycles when progesterone is high. Earlier this year, experts warned that 1 million women could be taking the wrong contraceptive pill and could be suffering nasty side effects in silence. Common side effects of the contraceptive pill include nausea, headaches, and migraine, weight gain, mood changes, loss of libido, missed periods, vaginal discharge, breast tenderness, spotting between periods. Doctors estimate 3 million women are plagued by nasty side effects of their contraception, yet a third have never raised the issue with their doctor, meaning they're likely unaware there could be a solution. Earlier this year, a nurse claimed that the pill triggered 2 strokes in 1 week. Hannah McGrath, 23, revealed she suddenly felt a sudden burst of pain in the back of her head while in the kitchen, and the room started to spin. So that's it for the article, and there are some things I was kind of aware of, and this is the thing. This information, I was actually aware of it by being in the MGTOW circles. That's the men going their own way, which is considered by some to be in the manosphere, to be a place where incels and people who hate women are in. But in that community, there's different people. Like in most communities, there's people who have different levels of involvement and a different interest within that sphere, and some people go into the science to try and wonder, is there actual reasons why there seems to be a lot of issues between male-female relations? And some of these things are just simple. Some of these side effects, I think we know people in our lives that seem to have some of these side effects. Now, how much of this is actually just mental? How much of it in this situation, they're saying 50 people being tested, that's not that much. As they mentioned, it's preliminary kind of thing here. There might be a situation where people with certain brain kinds and shapes and sizes and activity might be the sort who take pills more. So there could be something that they had before, and then they decided to take the pill above that, and that's why the hypothalamus is different. That could be something pre-existing, so they need to do more research into it. But some of these facts, I do think some of these drugs are rather recent. We don't really know how long it takes to actually show significant effects, side effects of these things. What are the epigenetic effects? What are the effects of you cutting down something that is so coded into life as a life form? It is so coded into us. Something like, I just heard this about the banana plant. The banana plant in the wild is a plant with very massive seeds, very little actual fruit into it, actual flesh that you can eat, somewhat little nutrition in it. But it took a long time to culture it, to cultivate it, to the point where the banana fruit itself, that yellow thing that we normally eat, and when you get the plantains, that green one, it actually no longer has seeds in it. Now, the way this plant reproduces now is by these little offshoots that come off. I'll try to put some pictures up on the screen because I've got some around here. Maybe I'll just put a video of banana trees. So I'll put that up, but now with those bananas, they have these little offshoots on the side that you can remove and replant, and then they create these little thickets and kind of grow out. And now I don't know what is the actual point of having the fruit anymore if they're going to reproduce just by the thickets. So they still need to have fruits in that sense, because they don't really need an animal to come in and actually eat the fruit and then go out and drop the seed somewhere and have the seed actually reproduce. Because in the wild, I actually studied, looked into more of this, looked into more information about this, and they were talking about how banana seeds are some of the hardest to cultivate, because sometimes a banana seed will germinate in a couple of weeks, sometimes it takes months to germinate. So this is just depending on the plants, and this could be one plant to another. One banana seed could take 6 weeks, and then the child of that seed, the offspring of that seed, will take a couple of months. So this is something that just happens with that. But then over time, it was cultivated into a different kind of plant, into a different thing. It's still a banana. They're both still bananas, but they've been changed due to different cultivation, due to different changes that they had in the reproductive process. And reproduction is a key part of living beings. I think it's how we kind of organize everything else around us. Now you have a situation where women were given this pill, and in this article, there's a place here, it says, first male birth control injection that is administered into genitals is nearly ready. Now we'll also see what happens with this. I know with the males, it's already the vasectomy thing where you can have that reversed. You can have the snip, they tie the tubes, then no actual semen is going into the ejaculate and things like that. But now they're going to have an actual pill. So now that you've had this pill, yes, women have had it first, and it's brought changes to women. Now, are women happier with it? Is it more choice? I think it gives more choice to the actions that the person wants to do. But I think we've always had just the main way of birth control is not engaging in intercourse. If you don't put your pee in somebody's V, you're not going to get them pregnant. If you have a V and you don't let somebody else put their pee in your V, you're not going to get pregnant. But people want to engage in these actions regardless and want to get the pleasure out of it without the actual impregnation. So people go to that point, and then now they've had the pills. But now when you have these various forms of birth control, we're talking about the IUDs where they put certain elements into you, it changes. It's going to change you. It's going to change the way you affect. And technically, if this pill shrinks part of your brain that controls your sex drive, and in that sense, I don't know if that makes you more sexually active. Did they actually go in and say this? If it's a control, is a control meaning it makes you not want to do it more? Or makes you see loss of libido, it says down here. So if it's shrinking it, if it's reducing your sex drive, then that is a form of birth control. It's not the non-invasive, non-permanent type of chemical castration thing, where if it gets to a point where it just doesn't, you just don't want to be around men, you just don't want to reproduce. That is a side effect. And now, one of my worries is this material is actually in the water system. People flush these pills down the toilet, or you have it in your body system, and you urinate it out. It's not completely out. Can it get filtered during the water filtration process? There are all these considerations to have, and just wanted to read this article. Let me know what you guys think about this article. If you're a female, or if you know a female, if you have a wife or a girlfriend or a sister or a mother or friends who took birth control who seem to have some reactions once they started taking, did you notice anything? If you've known someone, has somebody talked to you about it? If you've taken them, what is your reaction to this information? How much research did you do into it? I know a few people who were on certain forms and then they stopped, and almost all of them have told me they actually felt better from stopping. I knew some people early enough in high school who were telling me they were taking it already, and they were saying it was partially for acne and skin and things like that, and just to regulate their emotions. And that to me seemed realistic at the time. But now, what are the actual effects of that? Long lasting? What does it do? Is it an addiction? Is it like, does it get you hooked like Coke, or does it get your body onto it? So there's all kinds of considerations with this. I would prefer if people went back to just embracing abstinence in that sense and being like, okay, we can do things that are not P and V and do all those kind of things until you're with somebody who you kind of think, okay, if I do have P and V with this person, chances are, if I get pregnant, it's kind of something that we have to work around. And on top of that, even if you don't want to do with abstinence, I'm pretty sure there's only like a couple of days of the week. I mean, the month, isn't it like 7 days or something where you can realistically get pregnant? I know there are some fluke situations where sperm will actually last in the internal cavities for long enough to get through a certain window. But I think in general, there is a few days where majority of the month you should be safe if you just know your own body in that sense. Okay, like, share, and subscribe. Next video. Till next video. Yeah, whatever. Goodbye.